So to finish up section 6, I'm going to add in these last little pieces. Look at the homework, you guys. You need to be able to look at a piecewise function and decide where to plug a number in. So, does everyone understand that this is saying if x is less than 1, we're graphing this equation. If x is greater than or equal to 1, we're graphing this equation. So we have a top equation and a bottom equation for where we're less than 1 or greater than 1. So if I want to plug in 0, is 0 less than 1 or greater than 1? Less than 1. So do I plug it in the top equation or the bottom equation? Top. That simple. Plug in 0. 0 squared minus 3 is negative 3. And that is our answer there. This will be on the test. You do need to be able to do this. It should be free points though. It's literally decide, do I plug it in the top or the bottom? Plug it in, get an answer. You've already been doing this. You maybe just haven't realized it. How about 2? Is 2 less than or greater than 1?
Wait, what about the square?
So, what's 0 squared? Does that make sense? So, if you plug in 0, 0 squared is 0, minus 3, you get negative 3. Does everybody understand that I plugged 0 into that top equation and I got out negative 3? So here, how about this one, 2? Is 2 less than 1 or greater than 1? So I plug it in the bottom equation, right? So what's negative 2 times 2? Negative 4 plus 1? Negative 3. Hey, it just happens to be the same. Coincidence. Does everybody get the idea for this? You decide where you plug it in, you get an answer. As long as you plug it in the correct equation, you'll be good. So that's numbers 1 and 2 on the homework. You'll be finishing those. Then back to the notes. Flip your note page over. Flip your note page over. The other thing you need to be able to do is describe what kind of graph is happening. So it says for the interval negative infinity to 0, state what type of function. Does everybody see that this is the half of my graph less than 0? Negative infinity to 0 for the domain. What kind of graph is that? A linear. That's your answer. Then it says for the interval 0 to 6. Okay? That's this piece of the graph. Notice how, again, it's describing the domain from 0 to 6. What kind of graph is that? Quadratic. That's your answer. Now, that was the easy part. They will ask you to then write out the equation. So to write out the equation, it's what you've been doing previously, just in 2 pieces. Write the piecewise defined function. So f of x is equal to, we're going to have a little curly bracket here to group our functions. The first function is a linear equation with a slope of up 1 over 2. Does that make sense to everybody? So 1/2 x. It's going, so we always read from left to right. It is going down to negative infinity, but our slope here is up 1 over 2. It is going up from left to right. 1/2 x, our y-intercept is 1. So that's what we were just talking about a moment ago. Does it make sense that we're going up from left to right? We always read the graph from left to right. So this is a positive slope, up 1 over 2. So I'll answer those in a little bit if you want. But this is correct. It is up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2 from left to right. We hit the y-intercept at 1. You could use this point, negative 2, 0. if you wanted to, you would plug it into a different equation, though. You'd plug it into the m times x minus h plus k. You can use either point, you guys. Either point is fine. It will still be correct either way. So if you're going to do that, though, you do have to use the 2. So
I did that.
mine. So notice how mine doesn't have the parentheses that you put. I can go over why with you later. But for now, is everybody good here? 1/2 x plus 1. This is slope-intercept form. If you want to use point-slope form, that is fine also. And then you can use either point. But this one, 1/2 x plus 1. And then I need to say where that happens. That happens for x is less than or equal to 0. Right? It's all the x values less than 0. X is less than or equal to 0. And then the second half, I need to graph the quadratic. The quadratic should have x minus, so the vertex is at 1, 2, negative 1. 2, negative 1. So x minus 2 squared minus 1. And we're just going to go from 0 to 6. 0 is less than, x is less than or equal to 6. Now, a quick point. This always confuses students. I need everyone's full attention here because it is a very simple concept, but it's easy to miss. Does everybody see how I use 0 twice? Once for both graphs. Since the graphs meet there in a solid point, it is up to you which one gets the or equal to. You just cannot put it on both. Does that make sense? If you put it on both, we have a duplicate, and I don't know which point that actually goes with. You have to pick one. It doesn't matter whether it goes here with this 0 or here with this 0. You just need to pick.
But not both.
Not both. If there's a disjoint part of the graph right there, and one's a solid dot and one's an open circle, then the solid dot gets the or equal to. Does that make sense? It's just when the two graphs meet at that point, you have to pick where it goes. All right, and that's perfect timing. So we're finished with that question. Let's go ahead and stop.